Hello everyone and welcome to the Young and the Restless channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The lights of Las Vegas shimmer like a promise and a warning all at once, casting their electric glow over a city where secrets have a way of surfacing at the worst possible moment. What begins as a calculated mission quickly spirals into something far more dangerous as Adam Newman and Nick Newman step into a high stakes game centered around bringing down the elusive and unhinged Matt Clark. Every move Adam makes is deliberate, carefully crafted to draw Matt out of the shadows. Yet the deeper he sinks into this world, the more fragile his carefully rebuilt identity becomes. The line between Adam and the darker persona he once embraced, Spider, begins to blur, and the risk of losing himself again hangs heavily in the air. Back in Genoa City, Chelsea Lawson can feel it, that quiet, creeping dread that something is slipping through her fingers. She's fought too hard to believe in the man Adam has become, and the thought of losing him to his past is something she simply cannot accept. But as the distance between them grows, so does the fear that this mission may cost her everything. Chelsea's concern isn't just rooted in love. It's laced with a deep, gnawing anxiety about what Adam's return to this world truly means. The man she's fallen for is stable, grounded, and devoted. But Spider was reckless, dangerous, and unpredictable. And now, with Adam stepping back into that persona to lure Matt out, the transformation feels all too real. The presence of Riza Thompson only complicates matters further, stirring emotions Chelsea would rather not confront. Officially, she insists her worry is about the version of Adam who once existed when Riza was part of his life. But beneath that reasoning lies a flicker of jealousy she can't quite suppress. Riza represents temptation, unpredictability, and a past Chelsea fears Adam may be drawn back into. And when you add Connor Newman into the equation, their son, their shared responsibility, the stakes become even higher. Chelsea isn't just fighting for her relationship, she's fighting for the stability of their family, for a future that feels increasingly uncertain with every passing moment. As the action intensifies in Vegas, Adam finds himself walking a dangerous tightrope, trying to maintain control while immersing himself in a world that once nearly consumed him. His interactions with Riza grow more charged, more intimate, blurring the lines between strategy and something far more personal. What starts as a calculated effort to maintain cover begins to take on a life of its own, and the chemistry between them becomes impossible to ignore. Their shared history crackles beneath the surface, pulling Adam into moments that feel less like an act and more like a relapse into old patterns. Meanwhile, Nick watches from the sidelines with growing concern, questioning just how far Adam is willing to go to make this plan work. There's a tension building, not just in the mission itself, but in the choices Adam is making along the way. Choices that could have consequences far beyond taking Matt down. And then, just as the situation teeters on the edge of control, Chelsea makes a decision that changes everything. Unable to sit back and watch from afar any longer, she follows her instincts straight to Las Vegas, driven by equal parts fear, love, and determination. Her arrival isn't quiet or calculated, it's explosive, fueled by everything she's been holding inside. What she finds when she gets there threatens to confirm her worst fears, as Adam and Riza are caught in a moment that looks far too intimate to be dismissed as strategy. Whether it's lingering kisses or a reckless game that strips away more than just layers of clothing, the sight is enough to shatter the fragile trust Chelsea has been clinging to. The air crackles with confrontation as emotions boil over, and in that moment, the mission to stop Matt Clark fades into the background, replaced by a deeply personal battle that feels just as volatile. Riza, unapologetic and unbothered, doesn't shrink from Chelsea's anger. Instead, she meets it head on, defending her actions with a confidence that only fuels the fire. To her, this is all part of helping Adam rediscover something he lost, a sense of freedom, of excitement, of being truly alive again. But to Chelsea, it feels like betrayal, a reckless unraveling of everything they've built together. Her frustration spills over, not just directed at Riza, but at Adam himself, as she demands to know how any of this is supposed to help them find Matt. The confrontation becomes raw and unfiltered, exposing cracks that may have been there all along, just waiting for the right moment to break open. And Adam, caught between the woman he loves and the dangerous world he's trying to navigate, finds himself at the center of a storm he may not be able to control. As tensions escalate, the danger surrounding them becomes impossible to ignore. Matt Clark is still out there, unpredictable and potentially watching, and Chelsea's sudden presence in Vegas only adds another layer of risk. Adam's concern shifts, not just toward the mission, but toward protecting Chelsea from the chaos he's pulled her into. Yet, his attempts to push her away only deepen the divide between them, as Chelsea interprets his urgency as rejection, as a sign that he's choosing this life and Riza over her. What unfolds is a clash of fear, love, and mistrust, each emotion colliding with the next until the situation feels ready to explode. The city that once glittered with possibility now feels like a trap, closing in on all of them as their choices begin to catch up with them. In the end, Las Vegas becomes more than just the backdrop for a takedown mission. It transforms into a crucible where relationships are tested, loyalties are questioned, and identities are pushed to their limits. For Adam and Chelsea, the road ahead is anything but clear. Their bond shaken by doubt and wounded by actions that can't easily be undone. The mission to stop Matt Clark may still be in motion, but the emotional fallout threatens to derail everything before it can reach its conclusion. And as the chaos intensifies, one thing becomes painfully certain. What happens in Vegas won't stay in Vegas this time. Instead, it will follow them home, leaving a trail of consequences that could change everything forever. The confrontation doesn't end with raised voices or a fleeting burst of anger. It lingers, heavy and suffocating, like the desert heat pressing against the windows of that Vegas suite. Chelsea stands there, her heart pounding, her world tilting as she struggles to reconcile the man in front of her with the one she thought she knew. Adam's silence speaks volumes, each second stretching painfully as he tries to find the right words. Yet none seem strong enough to repair the damage already done. The tension coils tighter when he finally insists that everything he's doing is part of the plan, that every moment with Riza is calculated, necessary, and ultimately meaningless. But to Chelsea, it doesn't feel meaningless. It feels real, painfully real, and that distinction cuts deeper than anything he could say. The room becomes a battlefield of emotions, where love clashes with doubt and trust teeters dangerously close to collapse. As the argument escalates, old wounds begin to resurface, dragging the past into the present with ruthless precision. Chelsea can't ignore the haunting echoes of who Adam used to be, the man capable of deception and emotional detachment when it suited his goals. She had believed in his transformation, in the sincerity of the life they were building together. But now that belief feels shaken, fragile in a way she never anticipated. Adam, on the other hand, grows increasingly defensive, not just because of Chelsea's accusations, but because a part of him fears she might be right. The deeper he's gone into this mission, the more he's felt the pull of that darker identity, the intoxicating thrill of danger and control that once defined him. It's a realization he doesn't want to face, yet it lingers in his eyes, betraying the internal conflict he can't fully hide. And in that moment, the distance between them feels wider than ever, as though they're standing on opposite sides of a line neither knows how to cross. Meanwhile, the shadow of Matt Clark looms larger, his presence felt even in his absence, as if he's orchestrating chaos from somewhere just out of reach. Every misstep, every emotional fracture plays perfectly into the kind of disorder he thrives on, and the situation in Vegas is beginning to unravel faster than anyone anticipated. Nick watches it all unfold with growing frustration, caught between his loyalty to his brother and his concern for Chelsea, knowing that both are dangerously close to making irreversible mistakes. He tries to ground Adam, to remind him of what truly matters, but even his words seem to fall short against the storm that's already been unleashed. The mission is no longer just about taking Matt down. It's about holding everything else together long enough to survive the fallout. And with emotions running this high, that task feels nearly impossible. Chelsea's pain begins to transform into something sharper, more resolute, as she refuses to simply stand by and accept what she's seeing. She challenges Adam with a clarity that cuts through the chaos, demanding honesty in a situation that has become riddled with half-truths and blurred intentions. Her voice may tremble, but her resolve doesn't, as she forces him to confront the consequences of his choices, not just for the mission, but for their relationship and their family. Connor's name hangs in the air like a fragile reminder of what's truly at stake, grounding the moment in something deeper than jealousy or suspicion. For a brief instant, there's a flicker of connection between them, a shared understanding of what they could lose if this continues. But even that moment feels fleeting, overshadowed by the reality of where they stand and how far they've drifted from solid ground. Adam's response is complicated, layered with both genuine concern and an urgency that borders on desperation. He shifts his focus to Chelsea's safety, warning her that being in Vegas this close to Matt puts her directly in harm's way. It's a valid fear, one rooted in logic and experience, yet it lands poorly in the midst of everything else. To Chelsea, it sounds less like protection and more like dismissal, as though he's trying to push her out of the picture to continue whatever path he's already chosen. The accusation comes quickly, fueled by hurt and suspicion, and it lands with a force that leaves Adam momentarily speechless. The idea that she believes he would choose this life or Riza over her cuts deeper than he expects, exposing just how fragile their trust has become. And in that silence, the weight of everything unsaid becomes almost unbearable. As the night stretches on, the glittering lights of Las Vegas seem to lose their allure, replaced by a growing sense of inevitability. The mission is still in motion. Matt Clark still out there. But the emotional damage unfolding within that hotel room threatens to derail everything before it can reach its conclusion. What was meant to be a strategic operation has evolved into something far more personal, where every decision carries consequences that extend far beyond the immediate danger. Chelsea and Adam stand at a crossroads, their future uncertain, their bond tested in ways neither of them fully anticipated. The love they share is still there, buried beneath layers of fear, anger, and misunderstanding. But whether it's enough to withstand what's coming next remains an open question. And as the camera of this unfolding story seems to pull back, capturing the vast neon-lit city surrounding them, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. The chaos in Vegas is far from over. In fact, it's only just beginning, with every choice pushing them closer to a breaking point that could change everything. For Adam, the line between who he is and who he was continues to blur, threatening to consume him if he's not careful. For Chelsea, the fight to hold on to the man she loves may require more strength than she ever imagined. And somewhere in the shadows, Matt Clark waits, ready to exploit every crack, every weakness, until the entire situation collapses under its own weight. As dawn begins to creep over the Las Vegas skyline, the city's neon glow fades into a harsh, revealing light, stripping away the illusion of control that once cloaked the night. Inside that tension-filled suite, the emotional wreckage is impossible to ignore, lingering in every glance and every breath that feels just a little too heavy. Chelsea stands firm, but the strength she's holding on to is fragile, trembling beneath the weight of everything she's seen and felt. Adam, equally shaken, finds himself caught in a silence that speaks louder than any argument, the kind that forces him to confront truths he's been trying to outrun. The mission, the lies, the blurred boundaries, it all converges into a single, undeniable realization that something has shifted between them. And no matter how much he tries to justify his actions, the damage is no longer theoretical. It's real, raw, and staring them both in the face. Outside their conflict, the danger continues to build, tightening like a noose as Matt Clark's unseen presence begins to close in. There's a growing sense that he's not just watching from afar, but actively manipulating the situation, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Nick feels it too, that instinctive warning that things are slipping beyond their control, and his urgency becomes sharper, more insistent. He pushes Adam to refocus, to remember why they came here in the first place, but even he can see that the mission is no longer clean or contained. Too many emotions have been pulled into the equation, too many risks introduced, and now Chelsea's involvement has raised the stakes to a dangerous new level. Every second they remain divided is another opportunity for Matt to gain the upper hand, and in a game like this, hesitation can be deadly. Back in the suite, the fragile thread connecting Adam and Chelsea begins to fray even further as the conversation turns from confrontation to consequence. Chelsea's voice softens, but the pain beneath it only grows sharper as she questions not just what Adam has done, but who he's becoming again. It's not just about Riza, not just about Vegas. It's about the fear that everything they've rebuilt together could collapse under the weight of his past. Adam tries to reach her to explain that he hasn't lost himself, that everything he's doing is for a reason, but even he can hear the uncertainty creeping into his own words. The truth is no longer clear-cut, and that ambiguity is what scares Chelsea the most. Love, once their strongest foundation, now feels like something they're both struggling to hold on to. And in that moment, neither of them is sure if it's enough. Then, just as the emotional tension reaches its peak, the outside world crashes violently back into their reality. A sudden development, whether it's a sighting, a message, or an unexpected move, signals that Matt Clark is no longer playing from the shadows. The shift is immediate and electric, snapping everyone back into the urgency of the mission, forcing them to act despite the fractures between them. Nick moves quickly, his instincts kicking in as he tries to regain control of the situation, while Adam is pulled back into the role he never fully escaped. But now, everything is different, because the personal stakes are no longer separate from the danger. They are intertwined, inseparable, and dangerously volatile. Chelsea, despite everything, refuses to step aside, her determination hardening into something unshakable. If Adam is going to face this darkness, she's not going to let him do it alone, even if it means risking everything. What follows is a collision course of emotion and danger, where every decision carries the weight of both survival and heartbreak. Adam must navigate not only the threat of Matt Clark, but the fragile state of the relationship he is desperate to protect. Chelsea, caught between fear and love, is forced to confront the possibility that standing by Adam may come at a cost she isn't prepared to pay. And as the tension escalates, the question becomes unavoidable. Can they survive this together, or will the very thing meant to bring them closer end up tearing them apart? The answers remain just out of reach, hidden somewhere in the chaos that continues to unfold. As the story barrels forward, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. Las Vegas has changed everything. The mission is no longer just about taking down a dangerous man. It's about identity, trust, and the fragile line between past and present. Adam stands at the center of it all, pulled in opposite directions by the man he was and the man he wants to be. Chelsea stands beside him, but no longer blindly, her eyes open to the risks, the doubts, and the painful reality of loving someone who walks so close to the edge. And as the tension reaches its breaking point, the future of everything they've built together hangs in the balance, waiting for a single moment, a single choice to decide whether it will survive or shatter completely.